So, I'm not entirely sure how many people know this, but I'm actually a very big fan of the Dynasty Warriors series. The Dynasty Warriors series is based off of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and a lot of people don't know that it is a 14th century historic novel. It's not historically accurate, but it is based off of certain historic events that take place in China. It is a fictionalized retelling of the fall of the Eastern Han Dynasty and the Three Kingdoms period in China. So, it's got some, let's call it, artistic liberties taken, but there are a lot of historic people and events that did happen in the story. This is realized very well in Dynasty Warriors by having a massive cast of characters with all different weapons and abilities, and the primary gameplay is cutting down swaths of soldiers as you go about different battles throughout the time periods. A sort of like a dream collection of how these different characters would interact with one another, and such. But what you're looking at on screen is definitely not historically accurate. I don't think China has ever fought a Hydra. I mean, I'd love it if that were the case, and somebody's more than welcome to leave a comment down talking about how there was this one creature in China that was kind of like a Hydra, but I highly doubt it. No, what you're looking at is a wallpaper from the Warriors Orrochi game. Warriors Orrochi is a spin-off series to Dynasty Warriors that combines the Samurai Warriors games and the Dynasty Warriors games. Now, Samurai Warriors is very similar to Dynasty Warriors, except for the fact that it takes place in Japan. It is also not historically accurate, but has a lot of historic elements. It takes place during the Sengoku era, when a bunch of different leaders were warring against one another for control over Japan. The Oda Nobunaga era. And it also features a large cast of characters, doing the exact same thing, fighting across battlefields, cutting down countless soldiers with super attacks, Muso attacks, special attacks, and all of those things. Now, the Warriors Orrochi series is way more fantastical by introducing those two worlds in a single place, as well as characters from the future. It features time travel. Obviously, one of the main antagonists of this one is a giant Hydra, and some other fantasy characters and elements that are included in the game. But all of that is to say that this game boasts the largest cast of playable characters in pretty much any video game I have ever played. And they all have their own unique quirks, their abilities, and their weapons and things. So the replayability is infinite. Well, it feels like it's infinite. It's got satisfying gameplay, at least it's satisfying to me. A lot of people say that the Muso games are very repetitive and very easy, and to them I always say, you played this game on easy mode or on normal mode. You can't fool me. These games are actually incredibly difficult, and this one especially had me stuck on the very first mission of the game for longer than I'd care to admit. So, in this game, it's war and battle in both the Dynasty Warriors side and the Samurai Warriors side. Things are going as usual. All of the events with the different officers are going as they would in their respective games. And then this shows up. The fact that the Hydra is able to attack all of the different characters across the different time periods means that when the battle against the Hydra begins, there's no one to really put in a decent fight. Therefore, that battle is completely and totally lost. The soldiers have been defeated by demons and the demon generals. And the few remaining officers are already exhausted. And then Kaguya shows up. So, with Kaguya's arrival and assistance, the remaining officers that were able to survive the initial Hydra attack are saved and given the ability to travel through time. So their job becomes to save different officers in different battles throughout the timeline so that they can be present to do... Their job is to save different officers across the timeline so that they can be present when the Hydra attacks. As you can see, the different chapters and missions are all broken up. The chapters have different stages in them. Depending on what you do in each stage in every chapter, a branch will be created, allowing you to save more officers from different factions between Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, and Ninja Gaiden. Now it's completely out of order. As you can see, I'm in chapter 1, 2, and then it jumps all the way to 4, which is the slaying of the Hydra. This game is called Warriors Orrochi, not Warriors Hydra. So, while the Hydra is a significant threat, it's not the primary antagonist of the game. And as you go through the different stages and chapters, you'll find out who really is behind all of this, and what you have to do to stop them. The fact that chapter 1 isn't at the very beginning of the timeline should indicate to you how messed up things really get. Now the missions themselves all have different conditions for defeat and victory, as well as side missions that you can accept for additional rewards. So for example, this one wants me to defeat 3 officers within 10 minutes, a bunch of enemies. It's usually pretty easy, but as the game goes on, they get incredibly more difficult. You can see what ally officers are going to be on the field, as well as what enemy officers are on the field, as well as your victory and defeat conditions. These conditions can vary between protecting allies, defeating certain target enemies, or reaching various goals or points on the map. Once the game actually begins, you're able to see the 3 characters that make up your squad, their health, their Muso gauge, which is a special attack, as well as your KO counter and the map in the upper right hand corner. You can see things get pretty chaotic pretty quick. So we have to save Musashi. And we're going the wrong way then. Characters in this game are classified by their type. Some are for speed, like Ayane. Some are power. Some are mystic or technique. This basically just means that they have specializations. Some are more meant for combat, others are for movement and mobility, others are for dealing with larger groups of enemies, and some are for single target officer, one-on-one duel type of deals. If you're familiar with the character from the game that they're from, then their abilities won't be a mystery to you. So it helps to know the character from the game that they're from. But if you don't, you have all the more reason to experiment with different compositions and different characters because they level up and get weapons and things. And with the cast being as large as it is, it's just more fun to do. So, it would be nice to just go straight to the target and rescue Musashi, but the gates are closed. Okay. Defeating the officers usually open the gates that they're nearby. Let's see. Not only does this game have all of the characters from Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, but it also has a bunch of their alternate costumes, which is really nice. This officer's been defeated. Switch back to my speed character. Unfortunately, we're really far away from Musashi, so it's going to be hard to rescue him. But we're going as fast as we can. So close. Yeah. Ryu Hayabusa is so strong that we took him out in just a couple of hits. Is he... There he is. Is he safe now? Oh, nope, he missed. Alright. So I managed to save another officer, which is great. But we still have to defeat the orchestrator of this little incident in the first place. We got this base captain. She's outside of the castle. Interesting. I figured that she'd be at the top, but whatever. The mission isn't over, though.
なんだよ大げさだな。こっちまでしんみりしちまうぜ。なんとか天使は取り返せたか。皆の者、残る敵を駆逐
Oh,
せ
they
よ。
want to do a sweep. We can do that. We can do that.
地獄の様相よ。鬼の居場所にふさわしかろう。
いいだろう。出るぞ。
So most of this game is just one big rat race between us and the demons, jumping across the different periods of time to see who we can save and who they can boil up in order to make the fight against the Hydra a success or a failure, respectively. Now, certain characters are under the mind control of the demons, so we have to deal with them, break the mind control in a way that doesn't kill them, so that they can still help. These guys are easy. Now, like I said, it looks like this is really easy, but that's just because I know how these games work. I'm not really struggling anymore. But when I go to turn the difficulty up, it's gonna get brutal. Nice. Close. That guy's got a really powerful Muso attack. I don't want him to hit me with it. Now the battle is over. As you can see, these side missions have been completed, and they'll give bonuses to our bond with the characters that gave it to us. And the game will pretty much progress more or less like that. The humble 3 characters that you start the game with will, as you play, unlock to a total of 120. And these characters, again, will be across Ninja Gaiden, Samurai Warriors, Dynasty Warriors, the previous Orrochi games, as well as, I want to say Blade Storm or something like that. There's a lot of different characters, and they all have their different quirks and abilities, so it's very fun to find the group that fits your playstyle. I have my own potential biases. I haven't unlocked the ones that I really want yet, like Magoichi or Hideyoshi, but those were probably 2 that I'm looking forward to getting my hands on. But if you're a fan of the Dynasty Warriors series, or a fan of just hack and slash games, I think you'll really enjoy these. They really do have a lot more challenge than people claim that they do. There's a lot of depth here. Granted, not all of the games in the series are worth your time, but I think that this one is most definitely worth the asking price. It's got a great playtime, tons of replayability, and a couple of other game modes that I actually haven't had the pleasure of playing with yet. I might do a video about those some other time. But if you've ever heard of these games, let me know what you think about them down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in another video.